So basically what we've started doing is setting up our keys so that on the faster songs, the keys player is able to contribute in a way that kind of matches the feel of the song. So basically when it comes to like melody lines or synths, rather than just having kind of like a default one that we click every time, or a couple, we're able to really kind of tune into the feel of the song, get us playing more melody lines and things like that. And one thing that I've heard is like, well, those things are in the tracks, right? And yes, they are in the tracks, but I think we'll all agree with this, is that we want our team and our sound to be made up of people and not tracks as much as possible, for what we can do, because God uses people as a vessel. And there's examples of scripture where God uses a melody that a person plays to drive out a demon, to bring change into a room, to win a war, literally, right? So our goal is to incorporate our players in the most meaningful way we can. That's the heart in it, that's the why. And so the way that we're doing that is usually we're going to have, on these more faster, upbeat, poppy songs, we're going to have two different sounds that the keyboardist is playing. And the sounds will be assigned to like a specific part of the board. So like you just heard me playing up here, we have this. Down here we have that. So two very different things. So in order to allow us to come in prepared, what I've done is I've started creating, you guys know the lyric runs that we've been doing for a while now. We started doing the same thing for keys runs. And it's basically, instead of like a document, I actually just shoot a quick video, kind of something like this, walking through the different sounds. I say, hey guys, here's the key I'm in, here's the sound up here, here's the sound down here, here's kind of where you want to bring some different dynamic and things like that. We'll get into that in a minute. So that all our players can come in prepared, knowing where the parts are going to be, what lines we're hoping to have them play versus what other little electronic things the track might pick up, things like that. And those keys runs are all in a shared folder with a link that I'm going to make sure you guys have before you leave. And it's also in that big onboarding folder that we sent out in the email. Did everyone see that? It's also, you can find it in there as well. Yeah, that's going to be just to allow us to all be on the same page and come in prepared. And in those videos, I just want to clarify, so I'm shooting it on this little, 3 or 4 octave, MIDI controller. It's not a full size deal like this. So if you see me playing kind of close together, don't take that literally. Okay. So
he got like 10 emails from me yesterday.
No, they were great questions. They were great questions. They helped me know what to address today. So I'm glad you asked. So obviously we always want to be playing the melody line in the same octave as in the recording, right? Like if we're doing this, I wouldn't want to be playing it down here, or I want to be playing it up here, right? So that sounds right. Now, if I'm having to, in the video, maybe play my progression up here, you can come in on a Sunday and feel full permission to play it down here. Things like that, okay? So, it's more of a tool. It's not a come in and play it exactly how Maddie played it in the keys room, not at all. It's just an equipping thing to kind of help us come in ready. What?
No, yeah. But come in and learn what Maddie. So there may be reasons. There may be legitimate reasons where if you do drop that in the lower octave, then it starts to muddy with the bass and muddy with the kick. And
then if there's things that specific, I'll try to verbally communicate that in the video itself. Yeah. I've tried to do that. Yeah. So. With that, what that comes with is a couple more things on the keyboard. I know we've actually had quite a bit in the past, so maybe not much more.
This is actually simpler than what we've had before.
Great, even better. So this is just a next and previous patch button. So as we're creating these for the specific songs, right, we need to page through the songs, obviously. So these just take you back and forth through the sound. So this is our altar call patch. We have like a pad there. So you have 4 faders. That's the pad. That's kind of a more trebly strings. We can bring that up more. This is a reverb that will kind of always leave up. And then you can bring in your keys when you want to get a little more dynamic. So that's the pad patch, or the altar patch. So what I would do personally is I would start it probably halfway, and then I would start with my pad and reverb all the way up and my strings low.
Okay.
Something like this. And then what I would do is just kind of fade this up over time. Up some more strings, and then I would bring in keys when it's like getting closer to like the Salvation Call and stuff. Like that. These faders will show up, and they'll even move around on other patches. They will not do anything. They only activate or control anything on this pad patch, or on this altar patch. So if you're not there, you don't even have to worry about them. And then just make sure that when you get to the altar patch, so right now, do you see how the fader's kind of halfway up, but this is down? The fader here is down for it. Do you see that? So you might just have to give it a little nudge, see how it's snapped in. So just like let the MIDI recognize the signal. So just check that before you start playing. So yeah, so does that all make sense? Any questions before I go on? Okay, great. Next thing, so these are all labeled altar, that's the only thing these are for. You got these here. Other thing you have is what is called, we labeled the EQ filter here. That it's the mod wheel, modulation wheel is what this wheel is. And basically what this does is takes the highs, like the trebles, out of a sound. So check this out. Hear that? Here that kind of makes it more mellow, a little nicer. So a good example of that would be in God So Good. In the verses, we don't want something quite this aggressive. And so what I would do is do that during the verses, and then I'm opening it up like that. And then I can come in. Dynamic range, right? So that you're not overplaying in the quiet parts and you don't get lost in the big parts. So one thing to be mindful of, before I forget, you can actually see it right here. Do you see that filter that's moving? Let's make it bigger here. Maybe, yeah, okay. So that's a visual of, so this is like your high end of your sound frequency, right? And we're just taking that and cutting it out. And that will always be, that's the only thing that we're going to do with the mod wheel here. One important thing to note, if you leave this down, maybe you're coming out of God So Good and then maybe we're going into something else. If we have it kind of left down here like that, it's still there. Do you hear how the piano sounds kind of, yeah, so that it's kind of a master thing. It goes over all the patches. So you just got to make sure from one song to the next that you're kind of being mindful of where you had it last, just so that things sound right. Pedal. you don't have to worry about, so maybe, you know, you're going back to our example of God So Good. If you're using your pedal right, but then you're like, we want to play the melody line too, right? So we actually can, so right now, do you hear that's on? Like this is also being held. What we can do is make it so that it doesn't carry for a specific sound. You don't have to worry about that because I'll make sure that the melody, like your melody line, doesn't have sustain on it so that it doesn't get muddied up.
And we'll have the playlist for the morning loaded. Ultimately, we may get to a spot where we build the library and the library set, and you can literally
You just
come in
pull
and
them
just
in.
we can show you how to import sounds, and it's super easy. And obviously, if there's feedback or things you have questions on, or something's not working, please let us know. The whole heart behind this, you know, the value we're talking about right now is all in. A value we're going to talk about in weeks to come is how do we make it better. And so that's one thing that I've really loved about what Matthew has been bringing to the team is like, how can we make things better? And there's been a lot of times we've had songs where it's like, hey, can you just play pad because it's echo or it's this, and we don't have the sounds because we didn't own them or whatever. And this is just a way for us to, again, try to keep keyboard players engaged and covering things that they want to do. And so if there's other things we're missing that will make the experience better, then please let us know.
One other note, obviously with, you know, if a song is in one key 1 week, you know, we'll have the melody line and maps to start here and not down maybe, if we were in like, right? But we'll have it's really easy to adjust where the sounds fall on the keyboard. And so we'll have those adjusted to the right key for you guys when you come in.
Yeah. I think a huge improvement is just not having to reach for the, you know, the laptop every time you want to change the sound.
That's cool, yeah.
That will make things easier. And, you know, there were times we had like 6 sounds and you're having to deal with all the faders. Now stuff's a little bit more uniform and closer to the recorded sound.
That probably helps fill some space too. That
Mhm.
awkward
Yeah.
transitions.
Definitely. Yeah,
'cause
and-
transitions are what's hard. There's that awkward gap.
Yeah, and I worked with DeRay to help kind of figure out as far as which sounds we pair together on here, what works well for him from a mixing standpoint too.
That's
So he's
cool.
been kind of involved in that
That's
side
cool.
of it too. So
And I think that's maybe worth speaking to because I think that's probably the biggest make it better deal because
yeah, great.
if not, we're relying on you to set what you think the keyboard mix volume should be. I think these horn stabs should be here and the pad should be here, and DeRay's going, as a mixer, no, actually I needed the opposite. And so this gives us a uniform, standardized sound that he can work with to give the best product
That's
to the
true.
congregation.
And
That's smart.
if on one Sunday he's like, hey, let's, you know, can we get a little more on the pluck on this? The next week, I'll save it like that, and the next week that change is saved, so it'll automatically have more. So
Cool.
yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Just consistency.
Being fancy over
Yeah.
here.
And it's really not hard. I mean,
I don't know.
it's pretty simple now.
Yep. So, kind of the goal will just be, when you get scheduled on, just check the keys runs folders, see which songs are in there, check them out, and other than that, you know, just know that the sounds will be ready for you when you come in. And that's about it.
Cool.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.